Okay, we're going to be talking about the key concept audience, and one of the theories that we studied were the hypodermic needle theory. This is one of the earliest ways of thinking about how the mass media influences audience. It was developed in the 1920s and 1930s. It was mainly a linear communication theory. It was a passive audience, mostly influenced by this, and it's not really accepted nowadays. In the 1930s, many researchers realized the limitations of this idea, and some disputed in the early media theorists gave the theory any attention at all. So they didn't think that the theory was actually given that much attention, meaning that...
Sorry guys. Have you seen Goalkeeper?
No.
Do you know where his room is?
No. Okay.
Goodbye.
What was it?
I'm not starting again.
You're starting again? No, just keep playing.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. So they didn't think they actually gave enough information about this idea and didn't do enough research. But the hypodermic needle theory continues to influence the way we talk about media nowadays. The mass media has a powerful and direct effect on the mass audience. These studies have been critical on the lack of scientific research, criticised on the lack of scientific research. This basically states that someone who is passive and it can be easily influenced by movies, TVs and games. This can be put across the wrong message, for example, someone becoming violent after playing GTA. The other theory we studied was the Bobo doll experiment. The Bobo doll experiment was a collective name experiment conducted by Albert Bandura in 1961 and 1963. When he studied children's behaviour after watching an adult model act aggressively towards a Bobo doll. The toys that get up by itself and stands in a position where it is knocked down. The experiment shows when a child watched an adult started punching the Bobo doll, the kid later on did the same thing when put in the same environment, mimicking the adult's aggression. Then they showed other children and an adult. Then they showed the children and adult being nice to the doll. They mimicked. Then the children were put in the same position, environment, and acted as the adult did and was nice to the doll. They changed their views that learning in the society about concentrating. Okay, so basically, they changed their views that learning in the society of conducting and associated with rewards and punishments. Baudrillard's research mainly concentrated on learning that can occur through observing and imitating someone else's behaviour. We now know that this is a social cognitive learning. This experiment shows us that there is more than one way to learn. Baudrillard's experiments showed us that conducting conditioning with external reviews, punishment or other stimuli isn't the only way to do it. Okay, now Henry, you're doing the...
That was 4 minutes. Okay, reception theory. Reception theory suggests that the media is encoded. Suggests that the media is encoded and decoded. Encoded by the creators and decoded by the audience. Difference to the hypodermic needle theory is that the audience is passive and accepts the meaning through accepts the meaning through three texts: dominant, what's that?
Neglodistic. Neglogistic.
Yeah, and oppositional. It basically means is the way they react is by the way they react is by their culture background.
Then the other theory that we studied was the two-step flow theory. The two-step flow theory links to the hypodermic needle theory. The hypodermic needle theory proposes that media has a direct and powerful influence. The two-step flow theory acknowledges the communication is a more complex process. Paul Lesaved discovered that we are more likely to be influenced by other people than the mass media. He called these people opiniolators. The two-step flow theory suggested that opiniolators pay close attention to the mass media and pass on their interpretation of the media message to others. This suggests that the audience are active participants in the communication process. They found proof of this when they were looking at Twitter. According to the study in the news on Twitter, it finds its way through people to diffuse layers of opinion leaders. They found that considerable support for two-step flow for information. Almost half the information that originates from the media passed to the message indirectly via a diffused intermediate layer of the opinion leaders, who, although classified Jenkins and culture. Yeah. No, that was all they classified. That's another Jenkins and particular culture is another theory that I'm going to talk about later. There you go.
Passive and active. Passive and active. It's easily manipulated followers of trends and trends to be weak. Trends and tend to be weak-willed, controlled and dominated. Active audience, free-willed, engaged, involved. Active audience. An active audience is the idea that the audience is not misled by broadcasters and other powerful force of media. However, active audience is believed to be intelligent and discriminative. Passive is not very engaging with the media text, as passive audience tend to not understand the storyline or do not get the message coming across to them.
Okay, so then I'm gonna do this one, and then you have one more left, yeah.
And that's the Gramsci.
Yeah. Okay. I don't even know what that word says. The theory. It was Jenkins and the participatory culture.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so the culture is, is a culture in which private people, the public, do not act as customers, but only as a contributor or producer. So this is where communities began to produce media to share ideas among themselves, meaning that they are not trying to make any money. By doing this, they are doing it as to share with each other. So people are learning from this, from each other's skills and getting past different. So they're getting for example, if someone knows more of a theory than another person, so this can be towards fans who like Star Trek. They can post their information on the internet and give further detail to other fans who know less about this. This also This also links towards people who like topics through difficult theories and topics where people want to know more about. Okay.
So
Gramsci is our last theory that we're doing tonight.
Yes.
And that is
Gramsci's theory. It's not very much. So, hegemony is pretty much the domination of the influences of Wangari entitled or sets of ideas of others. No, no. Shit, I can't even know. Dominate hegemony is dominated
of influences of one. Something.
Of one.
Entitled.
It dominated and influence of one group entitled or sets of ideas of others, social or cultural ideological or economic God, this is dyslexic. Influences exerted by a dominant group.
Yeah, that is all the information that we've got from all these videos, and I hope you enjoy our video.
Yeah.
So.